Welcome everybody. Appreciate you sticking around to listen today. I'm going to have a lot of useful tips and everything to go. And what we're going to talk about is the things that you can deliver today that will prepare you for the future. And one of the major things that we're seeing right now is with the pandemic and the crises that are going on right there, there's a lot of successful things that shop owners can do. And the first message that I want to send to you is I want to start off by it doesn't always have to be about business when it's almost always about business. And that's kind of a viewpoint to take when you're talking to your customers at your shop and everything. You got to make it a personal touch. You got to make it like you care. Come across that you actually care about their well-being. And then the business side of it follows after that. But when we talk about preparing to deliver, in most cases, everybody's thinking, okay, we got to deliver right now. Well, what are we delivering? Well, we're completing well done repairs and turning them around to the customer for an exchange of money. That's what they look at as in delivering. But there's actually many other things that as a shop owner, you, the leader of the business, have to think about on delivering. And one of those first topics would be your employees. What are you having to deliver to your employees? Then what do you deliver to your customers? And then of course, a big one that gets overlooked in a time like this too is what do you deliver to your community around you? The community itself can be a big support tool for you, and how your public relations actions and everything that you do within your business can not only set you up for great success during this crisis, but it can also set you up for future sales and future customers coming into your shop because of what you did during this time. So first one I want to take up is employees right now. Of course, there's a fear out there of a lot of employees. And if you have employees that are in the at-risk category, you as a business owner have got to deliver a plan of action to your employees. So you got to have a plan that allows your employees to, if they are at high risk, what do you do if they can't make it to work, or they don't want to come to work, or they don't feel that they're safe to come to work? And then what do you get set up within your shop to protect your employees? Now, I've been in and out of the meetings today, so I know this topic's been talked a lot about, but there's definitely things that you can do. The safety, safety mask, having them wear gloves, wash their hands, plus you could also have them wiping down the high touch points of a car and everything. And that is one of the biggest things we've seen here at Drive right now. Our clients of Drive have been offering free pickup and delivery for cars. They've been doing a cleaning on the cars where they'll actually wipe down and disinfect the high touch points, which is including changing out the cabin air filters. But this has been a big service to people right now because a lot of people are on lockdown and can't leave their homes or don't feel like they can leave their homes. So you can actually pick up business by offering these services right now into your shop by doing pickup and delivery. Now, when we start talking about these things like that, well, you got to keep your employees safe. Make sure that you have the proper insurance for them to be transporting the cars back and forth, but also make sure that they have the proper safety equipment to make sure that if they were in contact with a contaminated car, that they don't catch the virus or anything like that. So when you actually draw out one of these plans, what we always tell everybody to do is first sit down and look and list out everything step by step of the different things that you would have to do to protect your employees for any service that you offer right now. Same thing is that a lot of people are doing basically no contact pickup or pickup, so the customer can drive into the shop, drop the keys in a drop box outside, communicate through email and text on everything they need done to their car, and then the keys, when everything's done, car's sanitized up afterwards and cleaned up, they'll put the keys in a plastic bag and they can pick them back out of the box when they pick up the car when they go to pick it up. That's been successful in shops. But one of the most successful actions that we've seen is the actual cleaning and wiping down of the high touch points on the cars and making them safe for their customers. Now, in the last panel description I heard there at the end that they had a customer in Arizona that was being very successful with picking up groceries. We've had a number of shops that we work with here at Drive that are doing that. They'll pick up essential items for the elderly, possibly even pick up medications if they can for them, get the car service done, take it back to them and tell them, look, we left your groceries and everything in the back seat of your car. It's all been wiped down and cleaned. So those are services that you can offer. So the big thing is make sure you're keeping your employees safe and keeping them set up on this. Now, when we go into customers and community, how many people are actually doing charities and stuff for their community right now? There's a big thing that's going on is there's a lot of charities, a lot of help that outreach you can do. Automotive business has been tagged as essential for staying open. But there is a lot of businesses that are not essential right now and are forced to close, or forced, like restaurants, forced to do only carry out and things like that. So when you look, and especially if you're in a small town, if you're in a small town right now, this is your time to shine and become a leader within the community. And one of the things I could take and give you an example of is, think of that restaurant right now that really doesn't have takeout capabilities. They've been around for a long time. They're having to, close down. Their employees are being laid off and everything like that. If you're a shop owner and you are doing well or have the funds in your marketing account, one of the marketing actions you could do was go to that restaurant and buy gift cards to give to your customers when they come in and get service work done. So you can help that restaurant out in the time being right now. It gives them a little bit of cash flow, but then you've got incentives to bring your customers in for certain service works or anything like that they do. The other thing is that we've seen too is also a lot of you guys are here, been through a lot of training, because I know if you're here with Auto Vitals, you've been through a lot of training. You're pretty sharp business people, but there's also people within your community that do not have a lot of business background. So maybe there's marketing tips that you could give them. There's operational tips that you could give them. There's financial tips that you could give them. Be a support line for all the other people within your community. The other thing is that when you actually start reaching out and doing these PR actions correctly, yes, it may not drive vehicles into your door right away into your shop. But what happens is when you become that leader within the community, when that restaurant does reopen and you helped them with a little bit of the cash flow, or this other business, you helped them get through some financial questions, or as you go down through this list here, what do you think they're going to do with their customers in the future when everything is back to normal and everybody's driving their cars and going to work? Well, now you're going to be the place that they recommend to go to. You're going to be the shop that when they say, here's somebody's cars broke down, say, look, these guys were really great. They helped me out, and they took me to when we were down and out, they stepped up and helped us out. Other programs that I've seen like this in the community, I know of one shop owner that's up here in Northern California, and he was actually, they looked at their marketing budget. They had $1,500 in the marketing budget left for March. And what they did is they went to the restaurant and said, to 3 different restaurants, gave $500 and says, we want you to set up a program, however you want to do it. Here's $500, set up a program for the elderly to get meals delivered to them if you can do that. They did all that set up and everything. And each one of those came in with like a thank you card that they printed up, and it said on behalf of this auto shop, we're providing this meal to go for you. They're also having the same thing. I've seen some people starting to do that with the school lunches too, because we got to look at everything that's shut down in these different states right now. There's a lot of kids at home that depended on those lunches for school. That's what their main thing was, is that's where they get all their nutrition, was from school lunches. So, but they've started these drive-through lines now at the schools where they can come up and get drive-through meals. There's opportunities for you to volunteer or help out at the schools for that, and be able to sit there and see who's driving and hand out promotional materials as they come through that line. The other thing is that when you're looking into your community right now, essential services, auto repair, home repair, of course, grocery services, there's many of more of them on the list on here. But also look at what other businesses are considered essential on that list. If you'll go through and find the essential businesses, guess what? That's where you're going to find cars, people going to work, people visiting those businesses because they need groceries. So one of the successful things you could do is even just printing up a small window insert card, but you have to check with your state, because some states like California, if they get thrown on the ground, you're responsible for the cleanup of them. But check with your state and the local laws on that. But you could easily go to the local supermarkets and put inserts in the car windows and say that, hey, we're open, we're here for business, we're here to serve you, and that can help drive business into your shop. These are all actions that, as a shop owner and as a leader, you need to do. The other piece to it is how the shop owner reacts, how the shop owner is conducting themselves. And it can be overwhelming for a shop owner in some of these times right now. The shop owners can get hit with a lot of stuff. You're worried about your business. You got employees to take care of. You've got everything else that's going on. And believe me, the media doesn't help. And I heard people talking earlier this morning as they opened up that they tuned out the media because it's so negative. Finding things to calm yourself, take a walk, get outside, don't listen to the media and everything, because you as the shop leader has to be organized and have your thoughts together at all time, and don't buy into all the panic out there. Leave the panicking up to everybody else, because the person that is actually not panicking will step up and be the leader. Those leaders will shine out through the community at all times. The other tips that we've seen that have been going, there's quite a few companies out there now that offer like an ozone machine. I don't know if you've heard of these or not, but they actually pump ozone into the car. You have to let it set for 15 minutes. And then when you open the doors, you have to let it vent out and everything like that. But afterwards, everything that's bacteria or virus related is dead in that car, even odors and everything else. There's many companies that have these type machines, usually for building renovations and like hotel cleaning and stuff. But these machines, they are some out there that work for cars now. An investment like this going forward could actually skyrocket your shop sales in the future too, because nowadays people are going to be a lot more health conscious about their vehicles and about everything they do when they're out and about. So when you got to think about what is the future, how has this pandemic changed everything in the layout of the US right now and the nation or the world. And one of the things that you got to think about, what's going to go in the future. You know, this thing may last 3 weeks, a month, 3 months. Nobody knows a correct answer on that. But the thing is going forward, when things start going back to normal, people are going to be more health conscious. People are going to look for ways to keep things cleaner. And they're going to be more proactive about making sure these types of viruses don't spread. So setting your shop up with standard actions and routines that you are doing this all the time will actually help. Right now, we're forced into doing this because we're adapting to what's going on. But in the future, what it's going to happen is you're going to offer these as standard services as part of your add-ons and part of your services that you do in your shop. Now, we've heard a lot of clients that are saying, you know, some customers, there's many objections you're getting from customers about bringing vehicles in right now. Don't know how the economy is going to be. Don't know if I'm going to have money in the future. don't know, let's wait and see what happens. Or, and I also heard this morning there were some shop owners on one of the broadcasts that was talking about the fact that they had customers that were actually upset because their clients were upset because you called them and asked them on that. Now, there's a couple pieces on there. If the client's upset because you're calling or reaching out or marketing to them while you're open, there's a message problem that you're getting from your shop. And the reason I say there's a messaging problem that's going on is if that customer really felt like you cared and honestly just caring about their well-being, they shouldn't be upset. So it goes back to not everything's about sales on this thing here. If you can reach out and call everybody in your customer base and give them just a heartfelt, warm call where you're actually saying, we're just checking up to see how you're doing. We're just checking up to see if everything's okay. Is there anything you need right now that you can't get? And some of those things you may be able to provide for them, some of them you can't. But if you just listen to your customers, they'll tell you what needs to happen next. The other thing on it is that with that kind of call right there, it opens the doors for many other things. You're going to find out it's a perfect time to actually survey your customers. We're finding out right now that on the average, our shops that work with us here at Drive are reporting back that when they're doing full out phone campaigns calling out to their customer base right now, they're getting about a 60 to 70% answer rate on the phone right now. In normal times during business days, a lot of people won't answer their phone because they're at work, they're on their cell phone, so you get a lot of voice messages you got to leave, a lot of follow-up. But right now, people are kind of a captive audience, so they're at home and they are answering their phones. So make sure you get a successful phone campaign put in place that you can go out and talk to your clients on. And it doesn't have to be about, do you need a service? Do you, this guy has recommended repairs. Of course, those are the ones you want to go for and call first and show them now's the time to get it done. We have an opening. There's lots of things that can be done on that piece right there. Now, the other pieces that we're seeing with shops right now is marketing. Those that are marketing constantly and effectively are seeing no drop in business in their shops. And what we're seeing is that it's a combination of all your marketings, a phone campaign, social media campaigns, websites, Google AdWords, recommended repairs, service reminders, and it's a constant message you have to completely send out over and over and over again that you're open, you're an essential business, and you're there to take care of their car's needs because you are worried about their safety and making sure they have transportation in any emergency that may arise in the future. And then the same message too on that needs to be that in the future, when you do go back to work, you guys are going to be busy. You're not going to have time to get your car fixed now. So now's the time to do that. Bring it in. We can arrange for you to drop off, pick up. We'll sanitize your vehicle, and we'll keep everything going. Hey, Lauren? Is it?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was just
I was going to
unmuting
say,
myself.
I was kind of curious, can the attendees be put on unmute? Because I want to hear the different responses we're getting from the at the attendee shop, because my big thing is I want to hear and help them with the real problems that they have right now.
Yeah, so any attendee chat in questions and answers right now, and then once you chat in, if you would like to be taken off mute, I can promote you to as a panelist. To promote them as a panelist, and then they'll be able to talk freely.
Okay, so yeah, that's the big thing is if you have a question right now about a certain topic or a certain issue you're running into your shop, we've probably seen it here at Drive with all of our clients too, and we do have special handlings for each one of those. So the other thing is that now that people are captive audiences and working from home and everything, those that are working from home are in front of a computer all the time. And this is a great time to up your Google AdWords, Facebook AdWords, and items like that, because these ads are now getting in front of these of your customers at all times. And if you're using the right keywords and the right research and everything, these will all help promote your business and put you in the front of your clients. The other things that we're looking at now is what you've learned in your shop right now, and by delivering right now, is taking detailed notes of how you're helping yourself through this time. And the reason I say that is that there's many areas of the country that have other things that happen yearly around here. There's fires, there's earthquakes, there's tornadoes, there's hurricanes, and this is the same type of emergency that a town may be hit by, other than the fact that it's a nationwide pandemic and it's medical right now. So start writing out everything that you're doing on these steps and the way you're adjusting your business to it. That way, in the future, if you're ever hit with another emergency or pandemic that's going on, that way you have a actual playbook on what to do and how to get through it. The other important thing is that while you do have business coming in, be sure that you're setting those reserve accounts aside. Keep that reserve account built up. Now, I've heard different things on being essential businesses and everything else, that there's not loans available and stuff like that. And actually, the Small Business Administration does still have loans available, and they're depending on your credit rating and your areas and stuff like that. There's loans out there for your businesses that are, some of them are 0% interest. I believe New York City has one out. The city of New York put one out that is, if you showed 25% drop in sales over the last 2 weeks from your normal sales, that you could qualify up to a $75,000 interest-free loan through an organization there. Also on this, you also have people like Facebook, Amazon. Both of them have put millions of dollars into grants. And these are grants that said if you stayed open and you keep your employees employed, they're giving you a portion of their salaries back because they know your business has declined. So there's grants, there's SBA loans, there's many things. And the best thing to do is check your local and state government sites, and they will announce all the different funding that's available out there. And it's amazing what kind of funding's out there. Now, if you think about it, you can apply, get a grant that pays up to 8 weeks of your payroll for your shop, up to $1,500 per person in some cases per week. And these grants is basically free money that you don't have to pay the grants back. So if I ask you as a shop owner, what's it hurt to actually fill out the application? If you get accepted, you get money to help your shop run through this time. If you don't get accepted, well, that's fine. You move on into the next subject that you got to do.
Also, Dave, when you have a second, we do have a question coming into the chat, so I can read it out loud to you when you're ready.
Sure.
So Thomas is asking, how does the shop handle parts deliveries and other visitors' traffic? This has seemed to be our biggest concern.
Okay, so as in other visitors, are they talking like their customers or people coming in to get estimates, or just salespeople?
Yeah, Thomas, if you want to clarify, I'm guessing sales. That's what he responded.
Okay, so parts vendors, what a lot of our shops are doing with those is they've actually put a shelf right at the front door of their business, and the parts delivery driver can drop off the parts right there. So, and most parts company in right now are not requiring signatures. They can do, I've heard of some of them doing just electronic, saying, yes, it's been shipped. Yes, I received it. So there's things that you can do on that. Now with customers, one of the things that we've seen that's been successful with our customers is that when they come in with this key drop box that's there, what they're doing is they're having them drop the keys into a Ziploc bag. And then when they're dropped in the Ziploc bag, the tech or the service writer can actually wear gloves, pick up the Ziploc bag, wipe the bag down with a disinfectant. And then if it's a remote start key, that means you don't have to actually touch the keys, because as long as it's in the car, it'll start and you can move it in and out. If it's not a remote start key, what the technician and them can do is actually poke the key through the plastic bag and leave the majority of the keys still in the bag. So that's one way that they can do it. A lot of the big thing on is also social distancing. So what a lot of shops, what they're doing is they're just extending their counter away from where they talk with the customers, moving the customers back further. The other thing is actually wiping down and using disinfectant on the surfaces almost after every half hour. It's an up routine of keeping the business clean and wiped down. Other things are is that, like, technicians and people in the back, they get no visitors and nobody's allowed to go back there to talk to them. The technicians don't come up to the front to talk. Everything can be in writing and communicated through text or email with the front. So it's isolating them and keeping them safe, making sure they have the protective gear, the gloves, the masks, making sure they have the right disinfectants and everything like that when they're working on the customer's car.
Awesome. He also asked, on grants, what amount should a shop apply for?
It all depends on what the situation on loan for loans and stuff, what the situation is for your shop and what they're offering for it. One of the things that you can do is you can go and get an application from the Small Business Administration, and you can actually fill out the application and get pre-approved. Now, the thing about a loan is that you don't have to take the money. You can just keep it there in case you need it for an emergency. That's the ideal situation. Now, but if the SBA comes back and says you qualify for a certain amount of money at a 0% interest, what I would recommend in that case is keep your reserves and your money in your bank account, preferably in an interest-bearing account, and use their money to operate off of if it's a 0% loan. Now, if you're the other thing is don't get into high interest rate loans either. Some of the things that we've seen in situations like this is shop owners will turn to those on-deck loans that basically you pay back a percentage of your credit card fees, or you pay back a daily amount for the amount of money you loan. And they usually have 20 to 30% interest rates on them. And you end up paying 3 times the amount you took out on there to get that. So the other thing is SBA, fill out an application. If you get accepted, they'll tell you what kind of funds you're accepted up to. And then you have to make the decision if you really need that money or you just want to keep it there in case it's an emergency and you need it. The other thing is you can also talk to your local banks. There's a lot of different states that have put in stuff to free up money for local small banks. It could be getting a line of credit, setting up a line of credit, and only use it if you have to. It's one of those things, like, we can't stress enough, is only use these funds and borrow money if you absolutely have to keep your business going. It's nice to have those credit applications done and have the pre-approvals ahead of time, so that if it does come up to a spot where business just completely dries up, you already have something in place, a plan in place to how you handle that. The other thing on the loans and grants and stuff, it varies from state to state on what's available and how the amounts can be and what you qualify for. Now, another big topic I haven't talked about today is federal law and state laws and everything else. If you have clients that are your customers that you're trying to sell work to, There's a couple other things you can do. There's companies like Snap, Easy Pay, Synchrony, and all them that'll actually finance your clients' work on their vehicles. So those are options that you can offer to your customer base to finance their repairs. And a lot of them have 90-day no interest, and they have many different programs out there. So check into those programs as offering that to your customers. The other piece onto it is if you run into a customer that says, I don't have the money and I just got laid off, you can also reassure them that, well, right now you're going to need your car to go do job interviews and everything else here in the future. This repair is really important that you get it done. But also you can also reassure them that, there's many, understand all the different benefits out there. They can file for immediate unemployment in this case and get up to, in some states, full pay what you're getting for unemployment, and in some states it's 2/3. So understand those unemployment laws. If somebody was laid off from a job they're at because of the virus, they can actually get unemployment benefits right away. There's also pieces where they can get family medical leave. There's pieces in place that if you had to stay home because of school closures or had to miss work because of taking care of an ill family member, you automatically applied, and it goes out so many weeks for family medical leave. This is all things that a lot of people don't get educated on. So understand and read all those things about family medical leave, unemployment, and everything else. Not only for if you had to do some of those layoffs within your shop, but it's also to protect your customers and let them know you're not going to go all this time. You ain't going to go months without paychecks. And then the other thing is to understand how many companies may have laid people off temporarily versus full time. Some of these companies may do a temporary layoff and they're worried, well, am I going to get hired back? So they need to really understand what the situation is with their employment and all the different benefits that are out there for them in order to make sure that they're safe. And then you can also start talking to them about the importance of making sure they have a car that is fully operational and runs good, because when things get back together, they're going to have to go out and find jobs or go to a job or whatever. That's what's going to help them, ease them about doing normal maintenance and scheduled maintenance on their cars. The other big thing that we've seen a lot of people having success with in their shops and everything else is finding technicians right now. And I know there was some talks on some of the earlier chats on this, but the biggest thing I can say on that is if you think back, what I always tell everybody that when we're talking to them, think back 2 months ago at the beginning of the year, what was your biggest problem in your shop? And most shops will tell you they were trying to find a good technician. Well, right now, there's been a lot of good technicians that have been laid off. So their resumes are being updated on Indeed. They're out there. You need to be promoting that you're hiring. If you were in that position where you're still busy or you're got too much work to handle right now, because I've seen many shops that have more work than they can handle, that's a good thing. So now is a good time to be casting your net out to see about hiring a technician. But the other thing on that is make sure your interview process is good and you're doing a lot of background data on these guys too. Because if there's abundance of them out there, it flipped the turns on the hiring right now. There's a bunch of mechanics that have been in other shops that have closed down or dealerships that are taking weeks off. So now you have an opportunity to pick up some good talent out there, but beware, because there's also probably a mixture of talent that you don't want in your shop in there too.
Awesome. Really good points, Dave. Thomas also asked if you had a sample of a sign or probably a Facebook post, something that you have used for your COVID-19 policies.
Okay. Yeah. So just a sample of for the policies within the shop, or what you're sending out to the clients, to your customers.
He responded both.
Both. Okay. What you can do is there a way that, will I get some email addresses here, or is there some way that I can download some documents to you, Lauren, after this, and I can send those out?
100%. I'll make sure that you get Thomas's email address, and Thomas, I'll also send you Dave, so you guys can get in contact and share whatever documents. And anyone else, if you would like to be shared on these documents that we're talking about, just shoot through, respond yes, or raise your hand, and I'll make sure you get access to those. We have everyone's email address that's in here.
Yeah, the big thing that I can say when you're talking about policies that you have with your with your customers and everything else, the policies that how you do it in your shop needs to be your policy, because, and the policies I can send you is some scripted ones that you can adjust and adapt to. But it's the policies of, this is how we expect you to drop the car off. This is what will happen when you pick it up. A lot of people have gone to pay by phone, or in trying to get them to pay by phone with credit cards, because it's a lot easier to handle. There's a no contact that has to happen within that period. They can pay by phone, that we'll park the car outside when you show up, and then we'll have the keys here in a lock box that you can pull out and get your keys. So there's many things on those pieces. But the other policies is when it goes to your marketing, is you've got to show the customers and the public right now that you're taking every step possible to prevent this. And like I said, the biggest things that we're seeing right now that has been a very big attract feature is the free pickup and delivery. We'll pick up the vehicle at your house, and usually they do a certain mile range around the shop. We'll pick it up, we'll bring it in, do the services, we'll do a disinfecting of the car, especially all the high touch points. We'll change the cabin air filter, and then we'll return it back to you completely clean, disinfected, and you can pay over the phone, so you don't even have to have contact with any of our team, and our team doesn't have to have any contact with you. Now, the elderly population, we've met a lot of people out in Phoenix, and I know this works in Phoenix, and I've heard it working in Florida. And what they're doing is, for the elderly, they're actually telling them, give us a list of essential groceries that you need or like us to pick up. And they send somebody out to the actual grocery store where the car's being serviced, pick up those items. And then when they return the car to them, they have the groceries in the car, and they actually bill them on one bill for the groceries and the car repair. The one thing you got to remember about it is we're in the service business. We're a service business. So anything you can add and give as a benefit when you're doing services for your customers will make you stand out a lot more. And that word spreads. So I used this example earlier when we were talking to some of our shop owners, and it was, you actually call a customer up and you say, how are you doing? Just wanted to make sure your family and you are safe right now. And that person is like, oh, we're doing great. Good. Well, we're open for business. Is there anything you need done on your car right now? No, there's not right now. Okay, great. Well, just keep us in mind if you need anything. We just wanted to make sure you and your family were safe. You end that call. Now think about if that person was on a phone text with three of their friends, because they're no longer in group settings anymore. So now they're on a text message with it, and it says, that's strange. My auto shop just called to see how I was doing, to make sure I was okay and not ill. And that goes to three or four other people. Then that stuff communicates and spreads. Now, did we have another question from Clark there, Lauren, or?
Sorry, I needed to unmute myself. No, I don't believe so. I think he was raising his hands to get some resources.
Okay,
For the
sure.
shop.
Sure, no problem. And we'll definitely spread those out. The big thing that I can't stress enough with your guys' shops and everything else is you've got to promote, promote, promote. And you got to continue promoting, and don't cut back on your marketing budgets right now, because in a time like this, everybody cuts back on their marketing budgets. And that's probably one of the worst things you could do right now, is you actually have to spend more money on marketing to get the customers in. The other thing that I've seen and heard some shop owners doing is, don't go in and slashing your prices. I've heard a shop owner the other day saying, well, he called in and they were worried because two other shops in their town cut their labor rate in half. Well, that really doesn't make your shop any more money by cutting your labor rate in half or discounting your services by a lot. And I used this example earlier today with a client. Take that you were getting 20 cars a week at an average RO of $500 into your shop. So you're making $10,000 a week. Go in and give that, now say I'm going to give a 25% discount off of that. So now you get 30 clients in. But with that 25% discount, your average RO drops to 375. 30 cars at 375 is 11,250. So you made an additional $1,250, but now you got to pay for the additional parts you put into it. You got to pay in for the additional service labor that you put into it. And you worked twice as hard to get 10 extra cars in, and you didn't make any more money on it. So don't undervalue your importance and your services. So when you look at this, it's better to give added bonuses to the services you have right now than to discount your services to drive people into your shop. The other thing is that understanding and knowing that you guys' shops are essential and staying open is another big plus. We had a client down in San Diego on a street with 15 shops on it. And out of the 15 shops on that short street, only 3 of them stayed open. All the other ones closed down because they weren't informing themselves that they were essential or anything like that. Well, guess what? Those 3 shops have cars lined up out the doors for it right now. Another deceiving thing in the industry right now is there's not as many cars out on the road. No, there's not as many cars out on the road because people are still at home, but there's still a number of cars that are needed and still drove by the vehicles. They're not out on the roads going to work during the normal traffic times right now. So cars are still important to your clients. So make sure that they understand that you're there to help them with their vehicles. Did we have any more questions? Because we planned on this, Lauren, for 45 minutes, and I'm coming up on that, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, we have about 3 more minutes. So if you have any questions, shoot them through now would be the time to do it.
Okay. So the best message that I can end off over here is, as a shop owner, stay calm, cool, and collected at all times. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed, take a break, go take a walk around outside, and look, it's going to be there 10 minutes later when you come back. But when you can be calm and cool and collected about it, you'll make rational decisions. Don't get caught up in all the panic. You need to be the person that's stable, and your employees need you to be stable and level-headed. Your customers need you to be stable and level-headed, and your communities need you to be stable and level-headed. If you find yourself getting wrapped up into the panic too much, I'll tell you right now, turn the TV and news feeds off. I did that over the weekend, and you know what? I woke up Monday morning feeling refreshed and charged, and we have been at it nonstop over here at Drive, helping shop owners. And that's the biggest thing that we've seen right now is the panic. Don't panic. Actually sit down and look at your numbers and your KPIs before you make any of those rational decisions for your business, because sometimes it's not as bad as what you think it is. It's a feeling you get, and you're going off a feeling. So actually go off in numbers and KPIs and look at it and make sure everything's factual that you're saying. So I appreciate being able to come on here and talk to you guys today. There is a couple things. If you need help from a business consultant, if you don't have one, or if you're looking for more advice, definitely go on to driveshops.com. We'll be more than glad to, our phone number's there, call in. We have people here to help you with questions all Monday through Friday during normal business hours. Lauren will give you my email, so you guys can definitely send me an email and I will get these documents if you're looking for those documents. Here at Drive, we're here to help you. One thing we've told everybody, we've helped shops through in New York City through 9/11. We've been through hurricanes with people. We've been through the recession with shops. We can help you keep your shops going and thriving through this time. So if you're looking for individual help or anything like that, reach out to us because we're here to help you.